Hey guys, Aquatic Bobs. Today's video, I actually want to talk to you guys about how I almost had a tank crash. Alright, so just like I said in the opening, I almost had a tank crash, and I don't think I'm out of the woods yet. I'm still a little bit lost out in the woods. So what happened is, a lot of you guys know that I dose Brightwell Aquatics Reef Code A and Reef Code B, and if you didn't know that, now you know. And the reason I dose those is because they have pretty much everything in them. Sorry, I just had to shut the door on my dog. She's whining. But what I mean by everything in them is the Reef Code A is calcium and other trace elements, and then Reef Code B is alkalinity, and magnesium's in one of them. But between the two, they have trace elements as well. So if your tank consumes a lot of trace elements from the water, if you have a ton of corals, especially hard stony corals, more than likely your tank is going to be consuming trace elements. So I like to have something that helps replenish some of those. Now what happened is I usually order Reef Code A and Reef Code B off Amazon because it's cheaper. It's just, sorry bulk reef supply, sorry saltwater aquariums, it's cheaper, and I get 5% back on all my purchases with Amazon. I feel like just some of those stores and places overprice it too much, and then they charge you for shipping too. I get free shipping with Amazon. But this is, I guess, a risk you need to take sometimes, which is why I'll be testing it from now on in the future. So I got a big 4-liter bottle of Reef Code B, the alkalinity part, and I filled up my reservoir container over here, and there was some still left in there from the previous batch. But I started to notice after a week or two that when the alkalinity would start flowing into the tank from the pump here, it's a Jabo DP4 dosing pump. It's the one all the way to the left. It would flow in, and normally it creates like a bright, it'd be so cool if it did it right now, a bright cloud like right in the water, and it gets dispersed immediately by the wave makers there. But after a week or two, I started to notice that the white cloud was very faint, and I just thought, oh, I wonder if it's just because it's getting a lot warmer, or yeah, I kind of chalked it up to it's getting warmer and maybe something happened to it, not really thinking that I just added a new batch to the reservoir. And so what I did is I actually started to dose more. I thought, well, I got all these corals in here, and they're growing like crazy. I mean, look at some of these, like everywhere around the outside of this haymaker, it's growing like crazy. The tips on the circus freaks are white. The Miss Piggy, Top Shelf Aquatics Miss Piggy in the back, the tips are white. The Walt Disney is always growing like crazy. The Top Shelf Aquatics Bubble Yum, it's like the colors are having a hard time keeping up because some of these are just growing so fast. Top Shelf Aquatics Carolina Reaper, Top Shelf Aquatics Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray. It's like they're just growing like crazy. PC Rainbow, it's some of them are just out of control. I love it. Acrolandia, and on the left, I just got this like 2 weeks ago, and it's already growing and pretty much maintained the same color that it was from when I first got it from Top Shelf Aquatics. I'll see if I have a picture I can post on the screen. Actually, I think it was the picture of my most recent video. This is a good time for a shameless plug of, if you've been watching this channel for a while, would you consider subscribing? So I'm almost at 2,000 subscribers. 2 years ago, when I just started goofing around and making a couple of videos, I never thought that it would really go anywhere. I just thought, oh, it'd be cool to put my videos out and just see if some random people around the world might watch them. And I never expected that one day I would get to 100 subscribers and then 1,000 subscribers. Now almost 2,000, and who knows what the future has in store, but I've kind of learned to love this, and I just love making videos. I love your reactions. I love your support. So if you would consider subscribing, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've shared similar struggles, or if you have video ideas, anything. Just communicate. Let me know. And I always try to respond to people who have questions. So anyways, back to the story is, I kind of thought that maybe the corals were just consuming extra alkalinity from the tank. So I bumped up the dosage of alkalinity. 8 times a day I was dosing 7 milliliters each time. So I was at 56 milliliters, and I wound up bumping up most of them to 12 to 14 milliliters. And I noticed that my reservoir, which is 2 liters, about almost 70 ounces of liquid. Let's see if it'll show up there. It was draining. It was almost just constantly draining into the tank. And after a while, I noticed that there was just nothing. It just looked like liquid going into the water. There was no cloud anymore. And so I started to get concerned, and I was testing the alkalinity, and it kept going down. Normally my tank was at about 8.7 to 8.9 every time I tested in that area, and then it kept dropping to 7, then 6.8, then 6.4. Then just the other morning I tested it, and it was 6.0, and I was like, what the heck is going on? This is not good. And most of us know by this point in the hobby that if you have a lot of hard stony corals, if you have major alkalinity swings, and I would call a major alkalinity swing anything over 0.7 or 0.8 parts per million, you know that can be extremely detrimental to your tank, especially if there's other issues going on, or you're having other struggles in the tank. It can be very dangerous to a tank. And so I started getting worried, kind of like, what the heck is going on? And I kept thinking it would correct itself because I was dosing more and more, but it wasn't. And so what happened is I decided to test the actual solution, which just doesn't really work. I mean, it had a ridiculous reading of like, it was like 2 parts per million or something. I can't remember, just really low. So I ordered another jug off Amazon and got it shipped right away, really quickly. And it got here, and what I did is when I opened the cap, I really tried to pay attention if it was still completely sealed. It should always be sealed. And it was. And I opened it up, and right away I dumped a little bit into the tank, and sure enough, just as cloudy as could be. And I was like, well, I know I got a good batch here now. So, because that was late in the evening, the next morning I woke up a little bit earlier, and I drained out the old stuff from the reservoir, the dosing container, and, oh, sorry, my back's killing me. That's the one bad thing about this camera, is it's so stinking heavy. These fish love being on camera. And I drained out the reservoir, and I refilled it up with the new stuff. And later that day when I got home from work, this was probably, I think, 3 days ago now, when I got home from work, I tested the tank again, and it had already gone up from 6.0 to 6.4, and I turned all the dosing way back down to like 5 milliliters 8 times a day instead of 13 or 14 milliliters 8 times a day. And Then I tested again the next morning. It had gone up to 7.1. Now this morning again, it was like 7.8, and this afternoon 8.2. So I'm getting back over the course of a few days. I'm getting back to what it should be, but it's been very scary. I know it's kind of a long story to talk about this, but it really was kind of taking a toll on me. And even laying in bed the last couple nights, I just kind of think about it. But again, going back to some of the things I've shared in some recent videos, is it's stuff like this that helps us learn. Like, I can guarantee to you guys that if I ever see my dosing liquids look different than what I know they should look like, that's an automatic red flag to me, and I want to diagnose it from now on instantly. On the spot, I'm gonna figure it out. No more waiting a week or two. And looking back, I'm kind of shocked that I didn't investigate more thoroughly. There's been one thing that's happened. This Space Invader pectina was in the back of the tank. You can see on the bottom left side. It started peeling out, and the whole thing was completely shriveled up to its skeleton. Over the last 2 days, it's really puffed back up. It stopped peeling. I don't know if I'll cut off that dead fleshy or the dead skeleton part tonight, or maybe I'll leave it. Maybe it'll grow back over. I want to do a little research on that. But yeah, so just a good reminder of if something seems like it's not right, there's maybe a little chance that maybe it isn't right, and maybe I should check it. So I just want to encourage you guys. I do get a lot of questions from viewers on my channel about tank issues and why their tank is suffering, why their tank is struggling. And honestly, the first thing that I always think about is inconsistencies. Even before having a certain element or parameter that's too high or too low, I always think about inconsistency first. And the reason that is because when you have an elk swing, or when you have a salinity swing, or even a nitrate or phosphate swing or something, it's creating an unstable environment. And just like I think a lot of us are probably a little bit familiar with gardening, when you plant your seeds in the ground and they first sprout up, if you have a night that gets close to freezing, it stunts the plant's growth. And oftentimes the plant will actually wither and suffer for a couple weeks before it even recovers and continues to grow again. If that stunt never would have happened, the plant never would have stopped growing, and you would have a much larger plant that would flower and fruit a lot sooner. Same thing with the corals. When there's inconsistencies, it causes corals to stunt out, to lose color, and ultimately to flower a lot later and come to full color a lot later versus sooner. Testing is so important. People, I can't stress this enough, you guys. People just assume because they tested once or once in a while that numbers are the same as what they were. Man, I've had swings in my tank that have happened literally in the course of hours because something was off, or because too much food got added, or something was in the tank that shouldn't, or a fish died or something. Like, I can't stress it enough, you guys. Please test your tank. If you're having issues and something's wrong with your corals, it's because something's wrong with your water, and you need to test and figure it out. Send in an ICP test. If you've really gotten to the edge of the cliff with your tank and you're about to push it over, and you're just frustrated and you're melting down and you're paranoid and you have so much sadness and anxiety because you put all this money into it and you have no idea why you can't get it to work, and everyone else seems like their tank's working but yours isn't, send in an ICP test. Let that be your backup defense. And your last line of defense. If your ICP test comes back and everything in your water is perfect, then you can start chasing around ideas like lighting and flow. But really, almost all the time, it's from inconsistencies. Even changing lighting, changing the intensity of your lighting. Holy moly! I have all this light over my tank. Here, let me zoom out. I have all this light. So I have two AI Hydra 32s. I have one in the middle, one Ecotech Radeon Gen 4 Pro. I have a 24-inch T5 fixture with two ATI Blue Plus bulbs, and then I have a 48-inch Reef Bright HO strip. And so all this light, and I changed one 24-inch T5 Blue Plus bulb, and half of my acros didn't put their polyps out for almost 2 weeks from changing that one bulb. And everything else was stable. My nutrients were a little low at that time, though. Like, maybe that was part of it. But I'm telling you, like, little changes, sometimes it's just crazy. Like, it can make such a big difference. And so I want to stress it to you guys again. Try to be consistent. All the best reefers out there, and when I say the best reefers, I mean those that have successful tanks, successful corals, success in coloring up corals, not just being able to grow a coral quickly and grow it healthy, but to have colors that are just like, wow, can make a $30 coral look nicer than some $200-300 corals. They will all say the same thing over and over again: consistency. The best in the hobby are the best at keeping good water, and that's the bottom line. So I just encourage you guys, don't quit. If there's an issue or you're struggling or you're not seeing the results you want, it's because there's something going on in your tank, most likely an inconsistency. But if it's not from inconsistency and you've tested your water parameters, you're not just assuming, remember, but you've actually tested, and then you can start to look to inconsistencies with lighting or flow. But yeah, and salinity swings are another big one. Water evaporates off the top of the tank. I used to not have an auto top off, and I would top off my tank every day after I got home from work, and it would usually be about 1 gallon to 1.5 gallons in this tank. And I did have the sump down below too, and my salinity was swinging every day. Now I have my auto top off. You can see the light up there, and it barely ever fluctuates at all. Alright, I'm sticking my whole camera down here. Kind of goofy looking, but... Oh yeah, one last comment. This annoys me. Sometimes people think that I should give away coral because I have big colonies or because I have a lot of a certain one. The most recent comment was, you have... Or private message was, you have so many eclectus mushrooms, can you just give me a free one if I order some coral? And I was like, I can't do that. I work hard to keep these mushrooms healthy, to grow them out and take care of them and frag them, or when they spread to different spots, to like control it. And these suckers let go of the frag plugs all the time. That's why I moved this disc back here, because I probably have about 15 to 20 mushrooms under the rocks in my tank. I shine a blue light back there and I find them everywhere. But I can't just give out free corals. Another one was a Walt Disney, because I have several frags of Walt Disney's. Like, I know I'm not like an all-out legitimate business, but I can't just give away free corals either. This is a big part of our income. I do not make much money as a recovery coach at Teen Challenge. Like, this is a huge part of sustaining our family and taking care of my wife and son and our future baby that's going to be born on January 15th. Yeah, for those of you who didn't hear yet or know, My wife and I are pregnant, and we're expecting another baby on January 15th, several months out still, but yeah, very exciting. We've been wanting the second one for over a year, and now is the time. So, and baby's healthy so far. Everything's been good. But yeah, so I'm just letting you guys know. I'm sure people are still gonna ask, and that's fine, but I have to say no, I'm sorry. Like, I can't just give away free corals, especially nice ones. Sometimes if people order a lot, I throw in a nice freebie or something, but I can't just send people a free coral. Oh my goodness, that's funny. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be rude, but yeah, I mean, yeah. Think about my situation too, please. So, but anyways, I appreciate you guys. Please subscribe, become part of the Aquatic Bob's YouTube channel family, and we love each other long time. But I love you guys anyways. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna be doing another video tomorrow night or the night after. I want to just start making more videos. I enjoy it. I know a lot of you guys enjoy it. I know you enjoy seeing the progress of the tank. And I'm absolutely floored at some of the corals now that the nutrient thing has gotten under control. Also, I know this is such a long video already, 21:05, but also the fish food that we started feeding is working phenomenally. For the last 4 days, I've been feeding it heavy and just that. And my nitrates are at... last night I tested, they were 5.9, and my phosphates were 0.05. Everything is right on the money, like perfect for what I wanted. And if you haven't seen that video, check out the latest video I made. I think I'll put a link to it at the end of this video. But yeah, it's creating fish food and coral food. It's working great, and so far the fish, everything loves it. Also, the spending 10 minutes a day. I've been spending 10 minutes a day just researching coral health and looking more into marine biology. I've also been spending more time reading my Bible and just spending time talking to God, just trying to be real, not religious, not ultra charismatic, just personal between me and the creator of the world. Is he who he says he is? Is it real? Could he really be real and love us and care about us and offer us an eternity with him? Is that real? I want to know. If it is, I want to know him, and I want to be part of that. So I love you guys, appreciate y'all, and look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. This is Aquatic Bob's out.